Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today we're talking about two glorious, well, actually one is literally glorious, choral works by Francis Poulenc, the Gloria and the Stabat Mater, performed by Kathleen, soprano, the Tangelwood Festival Chorus, the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and Seiji Ozawa conducting. Oh my, is this terrific. Absolutely amazing. Now, Ozawa, he came in for a lot of guff when he was at Boston, probably because he was there for too long. But he had some real strengths as a conductor, and he evolved as a conductor. He really did. I mean, he evolved into a very fine Mahler conductor. Who would have thought from the very beginning? He never really did the German standards. He wasn't a Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven kind of guy. He wasn't. He did contemporary music. He did French music. He was a great promoter of his countryman, Toru Takemitsu, whose aesthetic was largely leaned toward, let's put it that way, the French school, the modern French school. And Ozawa was wonderful at that music. He did fabulous 20th century stuff. He was, but in French music, he really was a wonderful choice for Boston, because Boston was the French orchestra, the orchestra that had Koussevitzky, then Monteux, then Charles Munch, and then, these really fine French conductors, and made iconic recordings of Ravel and Debussy, and they were just terrific. That orchestra always had that. Well, remember the old RCA Living Stereo recordings, and when Leinsdorf was there, which was not one of their sunniest or starriest moments, although he made some good records too, but they were called the aristocrat of orchestras. They had polish, precision, elegance, a lean sonority, all of the things that you really want in French music, in the best French music anyway. And this recording was just a knockout. First, we had the Gloria, which is absolutely, like I said, glorious. It's just one of the most wonderful settings of this text. It's full of on the one hand, Poulenc's sort of puckish humor. The Laudamus Te was supposedly inspired by a bunch of nuns playing soccer, for example. So there's that. But then there's that wonderful mysticism and sexiness. I have to say, I know it's sacred music, but sexiness is the only word for it. Poulenc's harmony, it's just a beautiful, beautiful work. And we have Kathleen Battle at her most exquisite, using her small but pure and lovely voice to perfection in Domine Deus and all these other places. Really a gorgeous performance. The choir sounds terrific. John Oliver, who was in charge of the Tangelwood Festival Chorus, was a very, very fine choral trainer and choral music director. I remember listening to all the Boston Symphony broadcasts and the Tangelwood things, and the chorus, the radio announcer would say the whatchamacallit chorus under John Oliver. Yeah. And he was really good at training the chorus. But the other wonderful thing about this disc is that it has the Stabat Mater, which is a much rarer piece. Now, it has gotten a lot of recordings in the past 20 years or so, or a few recordings anyway. It's more popular than it used to be, but it's equally as fine as the Gloria. It's absolutely gorgeous work, a sad work, of course, because of the text about, the Virgin Mary sitting at the feet of the crucified Jesus, weeping for her son. It's a deep text, and Poulenc takes it very, very seriously. He sets it clause by clause. There's one particular movement that I just love, the Ea Mater, and it has just, I don't know, it's a tune that's incredibly beautiful, and it's typically Poulenc, because it happens in like 2-bar phrases, and it repeats itself with the harmony changing all the time. And those harmonies can sound very dense. It can sound excessively thick. It really can, but not here. This performance is buoyant and light, not frivolous, but really, I mean, you hear the harmony, and Ozawa keeps it moving. I mean, I have all these other recordings where it's just a slog, and it just sounds like this clotted lump of dirty harmony. But not here. It's all fresh and clean and brilliant and beautiful, and the whole thing is gorgeous, and it's wonderfully well recorded, and that makes this disc one of the greatest recordings ever! I might add also that these things were coupled in various ways. The Gloria was coupled with the Concert Champêtre, and there were some other versions of these things that came out at mid-price. But the original disc was this one, with these two choral works, and that's the way we should hear it. If you can download it and stream it, you can probably find it more easily than you can as physical product these days. But it's just tremendous. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.